Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on the motion of thanks on the President's address. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the UPA government on having introduced some crucial bills, for example, the Lok Pal Bill, the Right to Education Bill, and other bills. This would really help India's growth and productivity. Despite the challenging global economic situation, I do believe that the present government has had the ability to withstand uncertainty. It is also my duty here to compliment the government on its initiative to start the National Mission for Teachers, the Higher Education Credit Guarantee Authority, the National Council for Senior Citizens, the National Urban Livelihood Mission, and the Civil Aviation Authority. I do believe that increase in the allocation towards research and development from 1% to 2% of the GDP will help in promoting scholarships and higher education. In the achievement side, sir, so far as eradication of polio is concerned, the central government definitely deserves appreciation and its efforts are really commendable. At this juncture, at this golden hour when the president, the chairperson of UPA, the speaker of the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha are all women, I would like to remind the government that even though the UPA government was not having full majority in Rajya Sabha, it could still pass the Women's Reservation Bill in the Rajya Sabha, but it has still to see the light of the day in the Lok Sabha. So I would urge the government to pass the pending bills like the Women's Reservation Bill, the Food Security Bill, and other bills. Here I would like to mention some of the things which have not been mentioned in the President's address or which are being overlooked. The political will and the administrative efficiency of the government can be measured not only by welfare schemes or poverty alleviation schemes but also when it rises to the occasion to meet out the national disasters like a cyclone. In Tamil Nadu, the life most of the districts was totally disturbed by the cyclone and the northeast monsoon. The cyclone has not only devastated these places but also has taken away many lives. All the leaders of Tamil Nadu thought that this would be declared as a national disaster, but the central government refused to do so. Sir, growing of cashew nut trees, jackfruit trees, etc. is the main livelihood of people of this district. But after the cyclone, the land is no more fit for cultivation and it will take more than a decade for people belonging to these districts of Tamil Nadu to resume normal lives. When there are floods in Bihar, there is a mention of it here in this august house by the chair. At times, the chair even writes to the MPs requesting them to spare funds out of their MP lads funds. But, sir, what about Tamil Nadu? Whenever there is a crisis like this, we expect the government to help our state to the greatest extent possible. I do not know why we are being disregarded as a state and as an integral part of the Indian nation. I request the government to urgently release substantial portion of funds from the National Disaster response fund and help in the rehabilitation of the people there. The World Bank is ready to help us, and the empowered group of ministers has already recommended a proposal in this regard. But the proposal has been lying before the Ministry of Finance. An early decision on this matter would really help in getting the World Bank loan for Tamil Nadu. Sir, the next thing that I would like to point out here is about the acute shortage of power. The power crisis is very serious in Tamil Nadu. This problem needs to be addressed both by the central and the state government. There is a difference between demand for power and the need for power. It is a realistic requirement of Tamil Nadu. I think that if all the pending power cuts in Tamil Nadu get operational within 6 months, there is a chance for normal life to be restored in Tamil Nadu. Otherwise, it would take a minimum of 1.5 years for people in our state to resume living normally. All kinds of activities like fishing, knitting, textile, agriculture, etc. are affected as a result of this. Sir, at this juncture, there are only two ways to meet this crisis of power cuts in Tamil Nadu. The first is to release 1000 megawatt of power per month from the central pool, at least for the next 6 months, to Tamil Nadu. The second is to provide uninterrupted power supply of coal to Tamil Nadu.